That's the royal wedding, right?
Yeah, she's getting married Saturday, 4 a.m. our time.
Go.
Today I was going to talk very quickly about this wedding coming up. I don't know when it is around the world, a lot of different times, but they're showing on TV here that it's going on TV at 4 a.m. Saturday morning, and I think the wedding, our time, East Coast, starts around 8 o'clock, 8 or 9 Saturday morning, and I guess the ceremony will run most of the day. But it's interesting, and I know people around the world are waiting because, I mean, this is something different. This is royalty of England, and it's been going on since things began, I guess a couple thousand years ago, at least 1,000 years. We talked about some of those years on the one we did the other day, but they say it's going to have more people watching than any one they've had in history, because this girl, Meghan Markle, is the bride. Meghan Markle is the bride, and she's going to marry Prince Harry. Prince Harry. Now, some of these things with this English family and this royalty and all that gets a little complicated, because the Prince William, and that's the brother of Harry, and Harry's mother, Lady Diana. This Lady Diana, she died at a young age, but she was really a worker, and she went all over the world. She's a nice looking girl, and she died in a car wreck. And she was married to Prince Charles. She was
murdered.
And Prince Charles, that would be Prince Harry's father. Prince Charles, after Lady Diana died in the crash, then he married another lady who had been divorced a couple times, and he's married to her. Now, the reason I'm mentioning divorces is because these things on this English calendar, and if we go back and back, if you had something like you wanted to marry a divorced woman, they would just tell you right off, if you're going to marry her, then you're going to lose your rights to the throne. And you get your rights to the throne by the number of people that are in front of you. Like Prince Harry right now, Prince Harry's father's alive. That's Prince Charles. And then Prince Harry's, well, his wife would be alive. That's the one he's going to marry Saturday. No, excuse me, I'm switching it around. Prince William, Harry's brother, he has a wife. His wife, he has 3 children, and then his father. So, the way I see it, Prince Charles and then Prince William and 3 children. So there's already 5 people waiting in line, depending on what happens. And his father married a woman and was divorced, and they did not make him remove himself from the line to get the possible king. Now, and these things are hard to keep up with, but this is all history. I mean, a lot of history. And like this wedding Saturday, they say it could have more people there than any one that they've had, and there are going to be people lining the streets and everything else. Now, one guy, there was a guy, this guy Peter, Captain Peter Townsend. He had a sister, Elizabeth, and she fell in love with Captain Peter Townsend, but she abandoned her plans for marriage because the Church of England said he's a divorced man. If you marry him, you lose your rights, you lose your place on this list on who becomes king or queen next. So that's why I'm talking about this. Everybody has a place on this list. Now I'm thinking that Prince Harry, he has about 5 or 6 in front of him. So then his wife, she's going to be coming right along with him, Meghan Markle. So I mean, there is a chance. I don't know what's going to happen, because these 3 children of his brother, you know, something might happen to them, or they could marry somebody the church doesn't like, and then you can start moving up the list. But and her husband Harry, he's been flying helicopters for several years, and that could be a dangerous game. But I don't know. I mean, there is a possibility that this woman, Meghan Markle, it's a possibility she could be Queen of England. And now what? And I know that the people that work on this, they have to decide these things. They have to work on the background. They've sort of thrown out the divorce in. I mentioned it. You can marry somebody that's divorced, and that's keep right on going, keep your place on the list. But there have been a couple of them that they told them right off, if you marry that person that's divorced, you're off the list. So you just have to make a decision. And there are some people that said, well, I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And if they throw me off the list, well, you know, I'm off. So then the people behind them would start moving up, their children. Now, I'm looking for this Harry at number 6 right now. Around 6 in front of him, I see that his brother's 3 kids, his brother and the father, I think they're all in front of him. So there's about 5. So that makes Harry number 6. And now what'll happen at that time in life, because these things go on for a long time, just like I think the Queen and her husband are in their 90s. So nobody's going anywhere, and they take it easy. They don't have a job, they work or anything. They're just more or less part of the kingdom of England, and they represent England, and people around the world are watching them constantly. I don't know. I think if something happened, there's some possibilities with this Meghan Markle. And don't worry, Queen Elizabeth's figuring all that stuff out. Say, what could happen? You know, say we had a hurricane or a flood or earthquake, or, you know, and there could be people dying. Naturally, if those people die, then other people move up. Now, like in this guy, King Edward, in 1937, he went to marry twice divorced American socialite Willis Simpson as of June 3rd, 1937. And he did that, and he walked away from the British throne for the woman he loved. He says, I'm going to marry her. I don't care what you do. If you cut me off the list, fine. I'm marrying this woman. Well, that's what he said. And then his niece, Princess Margaret, after he left, she stood second to the throne after her sister Elizabeth. And she fell in love with Captain Peter Townsend. This was all around 1936. But abandoned her plans to marry him because the Church of England refused marriage to a divorced man. And that was in 1936. And they just told her point blank, if you want to marry him, you're off the list. So she told him goodbye. But these are the things that we have to realize, and we have to try to figure out, and this is what makes this English setup, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's beautiful, and it's been there forever, you know. Queen of England, I mean, I'm not going to argue with her. But these are the things you got to think about. And that's why I'm going down the list, and I know everybody else is too with me. And they're going down to Meghan Markle. And they say, now, you know, what chance is there that she might be Queen of England? Well, no. What chance would be Harry? Would Harry be king? Because there's some other people in between. But they're both real young, and we got to see what happens. Some of those other people, 1, 2, 3 might say, I'm marrying him, I'm marrying her, I'm marrying her. And at the time, the court could say, well, the Church of England could say, you can marry him, they're divorced, but if you go ahead and do it, you're off the list. And before we know it, and that's what's so exciting about this marriage coming up. It's not the fact that Meghan Markle, it is interesting. For one thing, she's supposed to be half black, which nobody's ever been there before like that. But and her father's been coming up with some things. He said he can't go to the wedding because he has something bothering with his heart. But those are things the whole world are thinking about. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Is there a chance? Is there a good chance that this girl, Meghan Markle, someday could be the Queen of England? Thank you.